Kia ora and welcome to the Creative Matters podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with New Zealand artists. I'm your host, Mandy Yarkich. These conversations are intimate, uplifting and insightful. The guests on the show have absolutely enriched my life, and I'm sure their stories will have the same effect on you. Thank you so much for joining me to listen to these amazing people speak about what drives them, the way they work, and their personal takes on life. Hi, and a very warm welcome back to the Creative Matters podcast. Thank you very much for joining me. This week, in episode 78, I'm speaking with Sean Hill. Sean is a Kiwi Samoan emerging visual artist from Auckland, currently based in New Plymouth. His art practice is influenced by graffiti as well as his heritage, everyday life, and the natural environment, and includes painting outdoors, graphic design, installation, paintings and prints on clothing, as well as sculpture. As Gallerist Scott Lawrie says, Sean Hill is one of those rare discoveries, an emerging artist who was doing his own thing while inventing a new visual language at the same time. In this episode, Sean shares his experience studying visual arts for 4 years at AUT, which is a university in Auckland, Tāmaki, and how he felt he didn't really find his style until well after his uni days. We talk about the elements within his abstract paintings and what they represent. We also talk about how he feels about showing his work in group shows.
Because it gives a different feel. It definitely does. And people get to see the world that you're creating as well. And it's they can give you a little bit of answers or suggestions that you may not see. It's not like a critical point of, oh no, you shouldn't paint that. It's actually like, you should do more of this. Why? Is this only one you're doing?
His connections with the amazing Bradley Lane project, which is Auckland's longest running street art festival in Glen Innes, Tāmaki, and we discuss the amazing 8-metre long painting he applied directly to the wall of the Scott Lawrie Gallery and what he gained from that experience. Sean is a beautiful, humble person who I absolutely loved meeting and talking to. Hello, Sean.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really great to have you here. I've heard a lot about you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing all about your amazing story. Can you take us back to where you were raised and what sort of childhood you had?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Mainirewa, so South Auckland. Childhood was... yeah, it was a lot of sketching and drawing from when I was young. I was doing freehand sort of stuff, comics, everything, DC comics. And so what I would embed was trying to really appropriate from a poster and draw freehand by hand with a vision to try and capture different parts of a certain body part because I was interested in formats and structures, so all of that sort of stuff was already there when I was young. So embedded from just wanting to draw all the time, even in classrooms, even at high school all the time. So it was something that became constant.
And were your family creative people, or did they encourage you with your creativity?
Yeah, so my family they encourage me, definitely, but I'm the only artist in my family, so it's an interesting concept, or place to be as an artist, to be creative one in your family, but it's kind of good because you open up a world that your family would never see, and vice versa, your friends will never see, and then when they see your stuff, they're like, oh, wow, you really doing this.
Yeah.
You're really an artist, you're going to uni and you're doing it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is so incredible. And so as you went through high school, were you taking all the art subjects and were you actually thinking that it might be something you could make a career of?
Yeah, what was funny, I was in art class and my teacher, Kate Lobb, and then I had art design, which was with Lara Sexton. So both teachers were very supportive in both design and painting. I was pretty poor at painting myself, but they were very encouraging. They were really, they would back you up, even though you weren't confident. And I think that's what we needed when I was going to high school out south, because everyone's so much into sport. So art was like, oh, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why are you staying late to finish off your board? So doing that, I think, was the most predominant subject that I really love, apart from doing other things like economics and all that stuff. I think art became one of my things that I really loved because it was expressing what was internally going on in me. Yeah.
And what school were you at, Sean?
I went to Papakura High School. Yeah.
And Sean, I was researching you and found a very cute photo of you at 17 years old. And there was an article in, I think it was Stuff, one of the New Zealand sort of news platforms, talking about you winning an amazing award. And that resulted in your work being made into a giant mural.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that was an interesting concept. So from high school, Lara Sexton, our design teacher, put my name in as a competition. So they had a call out to go to all the schools around Auckland. And so I was one of the artists, or one of the students at that time that was selected to do the competition. So it was brand new to me because I don't know what competitions are. I just make work. And what was very complicated is that I didn't have the teachers around to talk about my ideas, because usually I go back and forth with them. So we had artists that were professional that would tutor us and see if we were okay for, I think it was like a 5-day workshop or 2-3 day workshop. So it was quite hammering, like you got to get it done. You got to have a concept, you got to get it done. And if you don't get it done, then it'll be a half sort of embedded up piece to go into the competition.
Yeah. So did you, what were they actually wanting you to do? Is like a painting on paper at that point?
So they actually, it was such a predominant point where they didn't give you a theme, which was great. They just said, we love your artwork. Can you do that in that style? And that was all 5 of the 4 of the other students. So we just done our own style. I struggled at the first day because everyone was just hammering out. And I was sitting there, I was like, I've got nothing to I don't know what to draw. And then I just looked at my watch. And so I just took it off my wrist and I just said, what if I could capture emotions for how humans look at time? And all these sort of emotions I wanted to pop out as characters floating out from the watch. And then I gave the cape onto the watch just as an abstract form to be a bit weird. Like, why does a watch have a cape? And it's bursting out all these little characters. So that was just a really simple effect on how time is very crucial to a lot of people and not to a lot of other people. So the colors just came as a play of just doing as bright as I could. Yeah.
And did you kind of create the drawing in that workshop and then paint it?
So yeah, that was actually all on Photoshop. It was drawn by hand, then scanned it, and our tutors, our artist tutors that were there, they were good. They were helping all of us. They weren't biased. They weren't, oh, we'll help. Shoot a one that looks better. They were actually helping each of us. And so what made it stand out was, for me, was the tutor saying, you should put a yellow background. Don't use a white background because it looks a bit flat. So the yellow popped out, and then that's when the contrast of colours started to happen for me. And understanding that and arrangement of colours was, the standpoint.
That's so good. And then you won the award. What was the award called?
So the award was Tatui Youth Art Award. So it was a billboard. So you got your artwork blown up, and it was shown at the Vodafone Event Centre, which is called the Dua Drop for events. So it's changed its name now. But that used to be displayed to the motorway. So everyone used to see it. It was such a surprise, and I actually don't think I was going to win it.
Because
it was
that's
a bit
brilliant.
I
mean, it's a big process to go through for a 17-year-old to be put into that kind of slightly intimidating environment. And competing with other people with your artwork is something new.
Definitely. Just different, but much needed, and I appreciate my teachers for putting that push.
Isn't that great? Teachers are amazing like that. Especially art teachers, I think. And they made you feel that they believed in what you were doing, I guess. And so that really feels like quite a pivotal moment in your career, where it sort of really helped you to decide what you were going to do with your art. Is that right?
So that was the point where I knew I wanted to do something digital, but I didn't know exactly what. So I knew I always wanted to get into animation, but when I went to AUT, I went into design course, which wasn't for me because I just didn't see myself there. I just had a vision that I just would drop out for some reason. So I said to the head that was running the course, I said to him, I don't think I'll stay here, and I don't want to leave uni. I want to go somewhere else. Is it okay if I go to visual arts? And he said, we got to make sure that you're okay. I can put your name forward, and you can have a meeting with the other tutors from visual art. So and then that happened, and so it crossed over within a week, and it was just just meant to be.
How long were you actually in the design faculty?
I think I was there for about 3 weeks when I finally knew.
And what was it about it that made you feel like it wasn't for you?
I think it was the expense of gears that I knew wouldn't be affordable from what the other students had. So they had all the laptops, the gadgets, and I was just like, I just freehand. So it kind of was meant to be that I saw that world and it wasn't for me. Because I'm quite organic and it's been that way for a long time now. Oh,
that's so great that you could actually get to that point where you thought, actually, it's not for me. And so good that you could switch. And did you have to actually put in a portfolio of your paintings?
So actually, I had like a portfolio ready of all my freehand sketches and all that. My designs from high school, which were all the designs, and then the billboard as well. But the tutor, he's funny because you go to art school, you don't get taught how to paint. When you go to AUT, they teach you how to think. They teach you how to think outside of the box drastically. It's not a simple thing of, paint on canvas. Like, what is the canvas doing? Is it talking to the space? And vice versa, is the space talking to your artwork? So he saw my stuff and he said, cool, okay. He just skipped through it, which was great. It was a cut down to the ego. So, and that's what you need. The tutors are quite critical, but they want the best out of you. So he got me on board and met all the other tutors, and just went from there.
So good. And you haven't looked back?
Haven't looked back. I do look back on my honours, but at the same time, even though not knowing what I was creating in my honours year was meant to be, because I went through a phase of working with palettes, and so that was where sort of the organic ideas and my practice are at right now. So all of that has come from
it
that.
started there.
Started there, yeah.
And you're talking about like wooden pallets?
Yeah.
So what were you actually doing at uni with those?
So I was using them as what you could call like a installation, sculptural pieces. At that time, I was still quite confused in how to install them in ways where you could see through the pallets and see artwork through the other side. So you're working with not a 2-dimensional space, you're working with a 3 to 4-dimensional viewing space. So that was quite hard to pull off because I was trying to work with it and it was quite new to me as well. Because previous years I would just work with anything and put it together and try and make paintings or painterly sculptures, which was hard in the 3rd year. So in the 4th year was still, even near the end of my last install, was quite hard to actually get something potent for me or get something that, okay, I'm happy with. I still wasn't happy when I graduated.
Really?
So yeah, it was all process based as well. And I'm glad I didn't find anything at that point. And I was still trying to look for that perfect style of my practice. Yeah.
And did you feel like a lot of other students were experiencing the same kind of thing, that they weren't finding their style? Or did you feel like you were kind of out away from everybody else in that way?
Yeah, I probably was. I think there were 1 or 2, but they found it at the end. And, they had really solidified practices and what they wanted to bring to the audience or have the community. So they had that really intact, whereas I didn't. So I was just like, okay, well, at least I made it through honours year. That's the main thing. I've done 4 years and okay, we'll just go to work and just do art on the side and try and build it up. But even after honours, I still kept going. I was doing work and working full time since 2016 and doing art full time as well. So I was just trying to find that balance as well. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's great that you didn't actually lose confidence or lose your sort of buzz for what you were doing when you sort of came out. I mean, were you feeling a little despondent coming out of those 4 years without your sort of total groove set up? Were you expecting that?
Yeah, I was saddened, but I expected it because I didn't have enough concentration to actually look at the realistic point of what I'm doing with palettes. What is the actual point am I creating or trying to create for the viewer? I didn't even know myself. So I knew at that point, I was like, okay, what I'm writing is struggling at this time, but it was well worth it because even through that struggle and not knowing what to do, I think it was the essence of process. And I knew what process was for me at that time. And I think that became more important than the outcome, even though I always like an outcome.
Yeah.
Coming from a designer background and back to the billboard was the outcome. I didn't really get an outcome in honours and I didn't know what to do with the practice afterwards. So yeah, it was interesting, but
it's obviously really informed your practice now.
Yeah.
And so why do you think you were interested in the crates, in the do you call them crates?
Yeah. Crates, yeah.
Pallets or
pallets,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could use both names, yeah. I mean, they both describe the same thing, and the way you look at it, they are artworks as well. So that's the way I was seeing it. But in terms of the writing, I think that was the point where I struggled more so with the work as well. So it was the writing and creating work. But I knew what I was trying to do was make the palettes into a valuable object where if you put it to the side of the road, it's invaluable. No one cares. You just use that as sort of a stepping stone to freight your stuff across the country. So the point of view was just to create that as artworks and bring them from an urban environment into a contemporary space. But even that time was more of a process based. Yeah. it's definitely something that I wish I got more in depth with at that time. But now creating what I do now with the artworks is more, it's such a better point with where I see where they're at.
Yeah, but you were just at the beginning of your journey, I guess, and you were still quite young.
Yeah, I was definitely still trying to find my way.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard for young people, 17, 18, 19, 20, to be at university, or especially studying fine arts, because it's really hard when you haven't had all that much experience out in the world.
Yeah, and it's quite hard when you go from high school straight into university as well. It's such a you could call a massive jump or massive level up if you took at least 2 years and worked or done things on the side and then went to university. At least you can sort of embed like just the outside world and experience from there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You've got more to reflect on.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So what happened after university? You had your full-time job and you were trying to work as much as you could on your work.
Yeah.
What kind of work were you making at that point?
So at that point I was just more or less going back into design, yeah. So with my book I had this head and it was of a emperor back in the day. So I created like an abstract form and abstract colours. So working with design and calligraphy, all that sort of stuff on the side. And it was mainly to print onto shirts. So I was going back for how I used to screen print back in university. So that will kind of keep my sort of creativeness busy and what I was interested in to still keep on it as a constant flow rather than trying to make artwork that I wasn't happy with. I wanted to just take a break and just move on to something that I could actually go with and I know better.
And that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
So were you doing a lot of drawing and still using the computer at all, or just drawing and screen printing?
Drawing, screen printing, computer, yeah. I was painting on the side more on canvases, so I took a break from palettes and all that. So on the side was really, just to create different designs that would look quite unique on a garment and use it as a wearable artwork. So instead of making artwork as a canvas in a contemporary space, you could use a cloth which could be knitted into a shirt, or you could buy a shirt and print onto that, and that's an artwork as well. So I was trying to formulate that base and have messages through what I was creating at that time. Yeah.
So great. And you're wearing a very cool hoodie at the moment with some of your designs and some of your paintings, aren't they?
Yeah. So my shorts is a full cover painting of my style that I do now.
Oh, wow.
And then my hoodie is more or less the heat press and screen print ideas that I do. And they're more like fun and gives me a bit of free time compared to always painting. So it gives me that sort of break in between that I need.
Where you feel like you're not having to sort of turn on your brain as much possibly.
Yeah. Have a bit more playful fun.
Yeah. So good. So you got the fabric from your painting made into fabric.
Yeah. So that was on an online place that I found, and so you just put your file up with your design and they just couple your whole shorts and knit it together and send it off to you.
So good. You like a walking artwork.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. It's so effective. And then from there, when did you start sort of thinking more about your painting practice?
Yeah, so I think it was about 17, 18. I think it was when it started through getting into the outdoor murals and working alongside Gary Sleeper. So then that's when everything started coming back. Yeah. So that was a change where I was like, oh, okay, I can get back into painting now.
And it felt good.
Yeah, it felt
at
nice.
That point.
Yeah.
So tell us about that amazing project. Was that the Bradley Lane project at that point?
Yeah.
Which we were just saying earlier, it's just such an inspirational project that's been going on for 10 years now, isn't it? And, the organisation of creating such an incredible community art-based project, with all these different people interacting with different roles and creating beautiful artwork. And it was for the Glen Innes area, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is so cool. And I thought, oh no, I need to figure out how to do that for my Northwest, And it just feels like an overwhelmingly big project to take on. So can you tell us about that and how you were involved?
Yeah, so that was run and organised by Gallerist Scott Lawrie for the past 10 years now. So he organised all of that. So I met him a couple of times during uni, and then, just one time I met him, and then he said, I think you'll fit perfectly for outdoor mural organiser. But prior to that, I was helping him with community murals with the youth up in Glen Innes. So we would whip up designs that were created by the younger youth. And so together after, he would formulate that design on that week, but it would be sort of 3 weeks workshops and whatnot. But when he finishes the design on that same week, we would go out and paint it. So that was when the large scale painting came into place. And from there, it was, he asked me if I wanted to be the organizer, the outdoor murals, and I was like, yeah, definitely.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And were you organising artists or working with groups of youth or that kind of thing?
So the Bradley Lane was is mainly constructed for artists and street art in Glen Innes, giving back to the community. And so volunteers that were youth would paint with the artists. At times, it was hard to figure out timing to, get the youth to meet the artists. Some of them would show up, some of them wouldn't make it at all. So that was our little kerfuffle that we had, but most of the time it went really well. And organising and looking after the artists, I met a lot of artists that were just really knew how to express their style, and they were complete styles as well. Street art, also contemporary as well, from my point of view. But a lot of it was street art and painting with brush on a large scale. So it was interesting to see the diversity that Bradley Lane had, because a lot of people would think, oh, it's just, artists painting over the weekend, but it was actually a lot of work behind. So being part of Bradley Lane with Gary Sleeper was a great experience to see that world that a lot of people would never see.
Totally. It's such a fantastic concept. And I guess you need different people doing different jobs within that sort of project, and trying to find the spaces would be hard, I imagine.
Yeah. I think that was the difficult part that we had. A lot of people said yes on the day, and they said no. So we had to make the change. And I think that's what I've taken on with my practice, is that some people will say yes at the start, and then you'll get a no later on because something has popped up. And that's what's taken me on to go, oh, cool, yep, sweet, go on to the next project. So a lot of learning from that, and how to just carry on and flow to a next space. And make it work, and not struggle and go, oh, why is this happening? You just go with it and go, okay, cool, not meant to be.
I really believe in that philosophy. And what kind of work were you creating for the murals at that point? Was it similar to what you're doing now?
So when I became the artist, like after the 3 to 4 years experience and being part of that role, when I came on, it was the style that came just before COVID hit, and this was the first COVID. So my computer had all the designs that I was working on over the years, and I went back to them for some reason. I don't know why. It was kind of good though. I had all the 20 designs, and I was trying to morph them together in different ways for different clothing designs or ideas that I had. And then I left it, and then woke up the next morning and my Photoshop app just completely glitched and morphed all of these designs together. So they created an overlay, an array of colors that were overlapping, but they were solid colors. So if you look at sort of acrylic sheets and one behind each other, it can be translucent like that, but my work is more solid. The colors are more solid and potent. So I saw this and was pressing next, and I was like, oh, I can't get my designs back. I was a bit stressing out, and I was like, oh no, these are cool. Oh yeah, okay. So I press next, go next. Oh yeah, catch all of them. And so that's when I started creating the style, color and shape studies.
Yeah.
So, it's a study that I am continually experimenting on, because I don't like to say it's complete. It's never complete for me, and artwork is always continuous as well. Yeah.
How incredible. It's like a gift from somewhere.
Yep.
Something happened. It's like serendipity, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And then you just looked in a different way at what you were creating.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful the way all of those shapes are sort of overlapped, like you said.
Yeah.
And sometimes there is a bit of translucency through it.
Yeah.
You can see through some color, or it looks like you can, but probably they're actually just different colors.
Yeah.
But you get a feeling because maybe you're just changing the tone or the tint.
Yeah.
And they're so beautiful. And I love too the way you, I mean, it's not always like this, but sometimes your edges are quite rough, which really reminds me of collage. It starts to feel quite collage-like in a way, like ripped paper almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what, have you thought about that, or is that something that just happened?
Yeah, that's definitely going back to the organic style that I had in my honours degree. So even though all that struggle that I had at that time, not knowing, it morphed all the ideas that I had back then into my style now. So instead of having straight lines where the colours connect together and overlay together, come together, I wanted to actually create a frequency through the colours and how they connect. So I didn't like the straight line. I don't really like perfect things, especially in my canvases. They have to be a little bit edgy. They have to be a little bit rough. So that idea came from a frequency of how the colours would talk to each other and morph together and connect, just as nature connects through the palette, and then the palette connects through the artwork, and then the artwork connects through the audience. So it was one of those things that was natural, and I liked the edge of the brush, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't like the straight line. Oh, yeah, cool.
It looks so good.
Thank you.
It's a lovely addition to the paintings.
Yeah.
Yes. And so going from the Bradley Lane project, you've spent a few years working alongside them and still working full time.
Yeah.
And then what happened after that?
So I was doing Bradley Lane, so it would be every year on the weekend, make sure I get time off work to do and participate and look after the artists. So the year that it ended was pretty much COVID. So after that, I moved down to New Plymouth and just found my new home there. A lot of quiet space, a lot cheaper as an artist as well. But I think I found my practice more so when I moved down, and that's when the organic ideas came through my artwork when I lived down there, and a lot of ways of how to create new artwork with the same design. So I can actually make now 10 different artworks from one design, just making it a little bit different, just getting a little bit intricate. So doing all of that and moving down really helped for my practice. So I think that has just made it what it is now. Yeah.
And so that sort of helped you get a feeling of momentum. Would have been helpful in your practice, I guess.
Yeah, because I never knew how to really see a palette as a canvas. I never really thought about that. And one of the guys in Bunnings down in New Plymouth, he said, why don't you just use 50 by 50 framing and frame the back, take the legs off? And I was like, oh, never thought about that. Because I was going to buy all this expensive sort of framing that they have, the nice framing that they have in the clean section. So he said, oh, why don't you grab this 50 by 50 and it's cheaper and I'll give you discount. And he sort of looked after me at that point. And it just went from there. And it was just that one suggestion. And I go back to him and I say thank you. And he goes, Mac, you done it. So
yeah.
you came up, you done the
right.
idea.
Yeah. So you, it was quite a sort of, there was a little bit of a break from those palettes, and then you sort of came back because you were looking for a surface to paint on, but you weren't interested in canvas.
I just never really liked the idea of buying something that's already made. I really like making my own things. Even with the palettes, like after honours, like I made a sort of like a coffee table out of a pallet, real heavy, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Where the legs would flick out, and so then they'll cut back
fold
in and then fold in. Yeah, and you can put it to the side. So I think I really missed that over the years when I wasn't doing it, and I missed really putting things together and creating these little artworks. And I was like, oh, that's what's missing. I've got this sort of idea, and I love wood. I love the organicness of wood, and it's cheaper as well if you create your own canvases, and they are heavy, so they'll last for years.
Yeah, and you are recycling, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So you are inspired by things like nature, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's sort of nature in all aspects, and that does actually inspire you to create these amazing, colourful, abstract artworks. So what is the connection there?
Yeah, I think the artwork sort of, over time, I do have one style where there are certain colours, and I call them the primary colours. That is my style, with the black backdrop. And so that's like blue, green, yellow, red, and then black and white. So that's my primary style. So nature has actually forced me out and get into different color tones, different textures, and really look at nature as an artwork and embed that into my style of painting. So really looking at what I see and painting what I see for the viewer and how I see nature. Well, if I see the ocean, there's different color tones that I can see that maybe other people won't. So I can paint it and give them that sort of aesthetic feel and a contemporary sort of look on the canvas, which looks rough. And people go, oh, wow, that's a little bit different. I look at color a little bit different too. And I look at color as one of the most prominent parts in everyday life. You look at, if you're surrounded by yellow or blues and all that stuff, you kind of feel happy inside. You feel a bit flowy. If you're surrounded by red and black, it can be a bit misty and can go into the world of spiritual world, which is red, black and white, which that represents as well, but also purple. So you got to mix it, and you got to know what your artworks are actually saying as well. Yeah.
And the colours are obviously connecting with the things that inspire you, but are the shapes as well?
Yeah, definitely the shapes. Yeah, I think the shapes create the artworks as well. They give that structural purpose for my abstract artwork. I can get a bit crazy with my experimental artworks, and I still do that on the side. That is more freeing, where my style that I have now is actually constructed by design and by format a little bit. But still, when I go to paint, I give myself freedom. If something doesn't work out, I have to cross it out. And if it's too playful and it doesn't make sense, okay, no, I can't do that. So you give yourself a little bit of freedom, but also that that structure is there for a reason, for your style to stand out as a purpose. Yeah.
So beautiful. And from that time, which was kind of the beginning of COVID times, like you said, 2021 sort of time, have you pretty much stuck with painting on wood, or are you doing a variety of surfaces?
Yeah, I do quite a bit. I think a lot of it was going back to the canvases for a long time. Yeah, I think over a year or maybe even 2 years of really knowing how to paint these styles on canvas and what they actually are doing with the canvas, and vice versa. What is the canvas actually helping the artwork, or is it ruining it? But actually help, because you get these sort of creases in the palette that look like the palm of your hand. So the canvases were actually embedding sort of human nature as well as natural aesthetics as well. So for a long time, I wanted to do that specifically, to work on canvas, and then I took outside to the urban environment, to walls, to the side of dairy shops and stuff. So it became more of a experimental part when I went outside. Yeah.
But it really feels connected, because it's sort of, the palette has a kind of outside urban industrial feel about it anyway.
Yeah.
And you've kind of been out in amongst it to retrieve these objects and bring it in. And so to me, it has quite a strong connection to what you do outside.
Yeah.
Even though you might be creating it inside.
Yeah. It's an interesting point of view. The outside inside world, I can call it. When you see outside, you see what's going on inside, and vice versa. When you see inside, you see what's going on the outside. So if you balance that world out, which my artwork has helped me through a lot of phases in my life, it really stands out, and it really talks to a lot of people. A lot of people see different things that I never would really think of. And it's a great feeling that my practice, I let it speak for itself. I don't like standing in front of the work. Even right now, talking about it is a little bit different, but I think it's good to back yourself and give your artwork a voice. Yeah.
Totally. And, what you're saying is very inspiring to the people listening, because it's your special journey, and, it's really interesting. And so then you did quite a lot of group shows in different galleries and places with different sort of groups. And then in 2022, you had that amazing experience with the Scott Lawrie Gallery, and you were part of the Moana Artists Show.
Yeah.
So was that your first sort of dealer gallery show that you were part of?
Yes, yeah. That was very interesting. I took that very seriously. Even though it was a group show, I was like, okay, this is it. Something just said, yeah, you really got to take this seriously. You really, like Andy, Lilia Suo, and Seft and Rani, they went out of their way big time for a lot of us that were part of that show. And I saw it for what it is. And I took that very seriously. I emailed back within a day, or just made sure I was on time with everything, as I always have been. But this time was just a little bit different. And yeah, meeting Scott was a great experience as well. So getting them as a push to show my work was just really nice, because I'm so used to just making it in my garage.
Yeah.
And, putting it up online, and it was nice to bring it up to Auckland, back to home, and showcase it with other Moana artists. Yeah.
And to feel sort of so validated, I guess, from somebody like Scott, who's so experienced in the art world.
Yeah.
And then Sefton as well, who's such an amazing ambassador of young emerging artists. And lots of people actually is a big supporter of.
Yeah.
So that must have been very exciting. What kind of work did you make for that?
So that was Purple Hearts. I think it might still be up on Scott Lawrie's website. So yeah, that was very intricate, that work. It was a lot of purple tones. and I felt like making a purple work for some reason. But it spoke more when I embedded the frequency lines as outlines and with metallic. So the lines actually shine and talk through the work. They don't interrupt it as much. But the tonal range that they had was so cohesive that I didn't even really see it until Andy and Sefton pointed it out, like, do you know what you're doing here? I said, I just kind of mimic grass or mimic a frequency line that I feel with listening to a certain song. So the line connects, and going back to the organic style as well. So there was that piece, and also a small miniature piece, which was a replication and mimic of nature itself, and different textures and mixing of paint. Quite experimental, still with my style, but really balanced. So both artworks were balanced, but very different to each other. Yeah.
How great! And did that make you feel that you were starting to make it as an artist?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that when you're showing in a contemporary space in such a great gallery like Scott, it surprises you how your work stands out big time compared to how it looks when it's in your garage.
Such a different context.
Very different context, and it's a great feeling, and I suggest it to all artists that if you can be part of a group show, even if it's not for you, just see if it is. Just be part of a group show at whatever type of space, and see what your artwork looks outside of your home. Because it gives a different feel. It definitely does, and people get to see the world that you're creating as well. And it's they can give you a little bit of answers or suggestions that you may not see. It's not like a critical point of, oh no, you shouldn't paint that. It's actually like, you should do more of this. Why is this only one you're doing? So a lot of people have said that, and it was a great show because you met all the artists as well. We all met each other. So, it was a great connection that we all needed.
And the Moana artists was people from the sort of Pacific and New Zealand region, wasn't it? Yeah. So good. And then nice also for you to see your work kind of interacting with other works. Did that sort of feel different to you?
Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't realise that I would be painting with Laura with the recent exhibition that we had with Scott Lawrie Gallery. So Laura was in that group show, and not knowing, like, he had his piece and he had purple tones within his work, so it was quite balanced piece. And the way Andy and Sefton curated it was quite great, with the colour tones and the matching of colours. And it was really interesting perspective to see that. And
so good for you and your career to be backed by somebody of that sort of calibre. Who's
definitely
so well respected in the New Zealand art world.
Yeah,
well done.
Definitely.
And then you did a mural on the wall in the Scott Lawrie Gallery, didn't you?
Yeah.
So when was that? Was that after that show?
So had the Moana show, and so after that was the main focus for me. And after that, I went to Graffiato Topol. So I was one of the artists in the Topol lineup for 12 to 13 artists. Yeah. So done that, and done the massive mural that I had there, and met up with a lot of friends that I haven't seen in years, and artists that I've always seen online, like Cut Collective. So met them in person, and Elliot Francis Stewart, Malaki, and then saw my best friends, including Conrad. So just a really great space to be in. So going from, I like that balance that you can take your practice, or with my practice, I can take my practice and go from a contemporary space into the urban environment because it's well balanced. They both speak to the inside outside world. So it was nice to be part of that. And when I finished the mural and posted it up, then the conversation happened with Scott Lawrie. So it was a bit different because I wasn't too sure how my artwork would come about in a contemporary space. I wasn't too sure because I've never really done it. I've only really experimented through honours degree, and through that experimentation wasn't really a great outcome. So in my head I was like, oh, is he sure he wants it? But knowing Scott, he's like, yeah.
Yeah. And was he looking at the murals that you'd been making and he wanted something like that?
Yeah.
Is that what he was thinking?
So he actually gave us the freedom. He said, we've got 2 walls. You got this side, Sean. Laura's got that side. So I'm not going to ask you for a certain style. You paint the style that you want and you do what you want. And I'm happy with whatever you two do. And then we had John Bailey, which was in the main area. But he was more paintings, framed, beautiful pieces as well. So it was 3 different generations. So me being young, and then Laura being a teacher as well, and then John Bailey being a senior artist. So it was a great cohesive balance in the conversations that we all had throughout. Even I think it was only 5 days that we were painting, really. Yeah, so the conversations that we had there were really interesting, and talking to each other, knowing about each other's background, practice, how each other thinks. So me and Laura were having conversations and, oh, how do you do this? And blah, 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 back and forth, and really supporting each other. So it was a great experience rather than, oh, you come and paint your wall, paint mine.
Yeah. Because
I know Scott is not like that.
No.
Looks after everyone, makes sure everyone gets along and goes ahead. But even with the conversation with Scott, I had a little bit of hiccups as well. Mistakes that he corrected, and I like that as well.
What do you mean mistakes?
Yeah, there were just things that I experimented a bit too. I went a bit too outside of the box. And
in the actual painting?
Yeah, in the actual painting, yeah. So went a bit outside and it didn't make sense. At that time, I didn't really see it. I was in a good headspace, but it was nice that Scott was like really critical thinking. He said, you got to make sure that your artwork is as though you're dropping your first album. So you got to look at it and make sure they read it from left all the way to right. Because if they are reading it from right to left, it's kind of like they're reading in Arabic language. So in Arabic language, he told me that they read from right to left. So he said, you need to make it really cohesive. You really need to make this really top tier. And I know you can do it, but just, you don't need that part. Just focus on everything else and come back and paint over it. So that conversation was really nice. And I'm really used to that. And I think I've been happy going through university with critical critiques. And I can take that on board straight away. And I said, yep, cool, I changed it. Yep.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, some artists would not like that.
Yeah. I think it was much needed though. Especially for me, I like that. Not like, as you said, a lot of artists don't like that. But for me, you need to be as open as you can be in order to work with people really well. That tell you not only make great connections, but you are really showing the different side of you as an artist. Not, oh, this is my work, I want to do it this way. You got to be a little bit, you just can't back off away from someone's suggestion. That's what I feel. And you can't take it personally because they're wanting the best out of you. That's the way I saw it. I saw it straight away. I knew. And having conversations with Scott prior to that, he always wants that. That's the best outcome. If it's critical, it's the best thing for you. And don't take it on. Don't let it get to your head.
Yeah. And
just have fun with it and go, okay, yep, cool, I'll change it. Yep.
Yeah. And it's such a different process actually creating something straight onto the wall in a gallery, which is, a well thought of, beautiful gallery run by a very experienced person like Scott. it's quite different to bringing in a painting and giving it to the gallerist and they put it on the wall.
Yeah.
It's quite a different process.
Yeah.
And it could be challenging, I imagine. And so what was Scott's purpose for getting you to actually paint onto the wall of the gallery? I mean, obviously you can't sell the painting. So what was he thinking?
So it was quite spontaneous with the thinking. He got us in, got us cleared, and he said, "Here's the dates," and all of that sort of stuff. And then I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm really keen. Yeah, I've got a spot in the main area with another artist that I've seen around, and because me and Laura didn't know each other at that time, so I said, yep. I said yes to it, and the conversation actually with how we were going to sell it was prints, but that was halfway through or just the week before, so sorting that out, and that's what became the idea of it. But the whole purpose was to give us a space where we could paint whatever we wanted, and he has all these connections that can give us a bit more of a open appeal to whether it's other galleries, whether other artists, other collectors, whoever would come in. That was his purpose, to give us that push for our career to take off, and very thankful for that as well, because a lot of the things that are coming up is because of that as well. And
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and I know for not myself, but Laura as well. And I hinted at Laura, like I overheard something, but I don't even say what the opportunities I have, because it's still in the works. But it's a lot of great personal projects that will be coming about from it. Yeah,
that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Well done. And it's so sort of gracious and generous of Scott as a gallery owner and a gallerist to, create these opportunities for young artists, and not just young artists, for artists in New Zealand, and get behind them so much, because that's often just what an artist needs, just that little bit of a push, and that can change your career. So
definitely.
Good. How amazing. The mural at the gallery was how long?
It was about 8 meters long and by 2.6 from what I remember.
Wow, that's long. And what was the process in creating that?
That was actually going to be from top to bottom, but then we had to really look at the plan of the plugs at the bottom and have a bit of breathing space for the mural. And that actually really worked well, because throughout that process of measuring it out and lining it up, my work is usually outdoors from top to bottom or bottom to top, covered the whole wall entirely. And this was interesting to create a work where it floats, and it floats in time, and it's a sort of time capsule, and the frequencies that were embedded and all the etching lines and frequency lines throughout the work were actually like a cohesive piece where they were morphing it but also moving. So they were getting out of the frame, but also they were stuck there. So it's sort of stuck in time. But a lot of it came down to the title of the work was Synchronicities. So it's a study by Dr. Carl Jung. And so synchronicities comes from a Greek term, which is syn, together, and then chronos is time. So what I really wanted to do is embed synchronicities as everything that I see within nature, within my sort of career, and synchronize it as an artwork and formulate it as a piece of painting that floats on the wall, rather than it's trying to be a mural. It becomes the artwork. So Synchronicities was a great title for that. And that's sort of personal research that I do. So embedded really well, yeah.
And I can imagine that, would have been quite different for you to kind of approach it like you would an outdoor mural, but to have those differences and to make it like a contemporary artwork in a gallery rather than a mural outside.
Yeah.
But it has, the synchronicity, again, you can see. But it's, like we said before, taking it into a different context is actually interesting. And having those prints made would have been beautiful. They would have made amazing prints.
Yeah. So see how they come out.
Yeah.
Definitely keen to see them and see how they are embedded from a wall to a print.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've never really done that process myself as an artist.
That might be another form of synchronicity.
Yeah.
Taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
But it does kind of connect too with the work that you do on clothing, and to me it kind of has a little bit of a parallel there.
Yeah.
And did you actually draw up with pencil or something, draw your lines first and then come back and fill them in?
Yeah, so that was all spray paint, just because it's quite quick. I do it outdoors. So when I line up work, it's quite quick with the spray paint. And it's easier to see what lines I need to colour in. If I done a pencil vivid, it would just be a bit too tedious. Spray paint, just line, yep, boom, 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 yep, cool, okay, cool. Because I know how to warp my designs to fit the scale that we have. Yeah.
And do you draw it first on a piece of paper, or do you have it on a computer and transfer it? Or are you just going free flow straight into the wall?
So it is definitely structured first, design, but just because I need to see how and what I can change and how I can change it when I'm in the space, because it always changes. Every single design changes when I'm in the space, but I need to have a structured format that goes from start to finish. And from there, I can be a bit more playful and experimental. So that helps always. Yeah.
It's fascinating. And it was really very cool, amazing work. Yeah, I loved it. So how do you bring your Samoan culture, being part Samoan, part New Zealander?
Yeah.
How do you bring your Samoan culture into your work?
Yeah, so that's at times when I feel like I need to drift off from brighter colours and not go into darker tones, but it's more or less tones that are really organic, like wood, textures of the siapo, which is the tapa cloth, siapo tapa cloth, and embedding that into artwork and my style that I do. I can use different tones of brown, and then the clay that is created to create the designs on the siapo. So it's a lot of embedded to. I do that every now and then, just because I just need that freedom from always doing abstract art to bring in a deeper meaning and context to one piece of artwork, but it still correlates to all my other designs. Yeah.
And do you see your own culture through the more sort of colourful abstract works, or is it not really part of the story?
It is at times personally part of the story, but I don't try and embed it into the work, just because I like that personal journey through my heritage. For me, I'm still going through it as well, still getting close to it. As part of the abstract world, that's my go-to with the world that I see, and I just want people to experience a really abstract, parallel world that is attainable visually, and it becomes a visual language for people. And I'm not trying to tell a story, I'm letting the story being told through each individual. So my Samoan heritage and culture is deep within me. It definitely is there. I bring it out when it needs to be, but so far as the work needs a voice as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I'm really interested to know, when you are marketing yourself, like on Instagram and on your website, you use the word anomaly in different ways.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that and how that works.
Yeah, so that's going just a little bit back to my teacher, Lara Sexton. She was like, "Oh, why don't you have an artist name?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to be an artist." So she said, "Oh," she looked at my work and she goes, "Oh, do you know what anomaly is?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "Oh, it's a description of something deviant from reality, any shape or form." So you'll hear scientists use it, and they use it quite constantly on describing something that they see that doesn't look like an asteroid out of space. What is that anomaly? So anomaly came from that point, and that point on, I still use it just to embed it into my work. It doesn't always have meaning, but it is meaningful, but then it can be meaningless to some people. So it's quite a unique balance, and it's also different. It's not your usual abstract, playful work. It is structured, but then I use, really unstructured canvases. So it's a really balanced world, and that's why I still place the anomaly word there.
Yeah, I like it. It's very different. It brings something different.
Thank you.
To what you're doing. And I know you have a website. What is the website address?
Sean, SCAN, anomaly, ANOMALY.com. Yeah.
And that website is great. It's a really good place to see some of the work that you've done. But it does say on there, don't get in touch with me through the website, find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
So is that your preferred platform?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's just easier just because I can see who I'm talking to, vice versa. But I do definitely am on email, but there have been issues in the past. So
yeah. Well, it's much more instantaneous. Instagram.
Yeah.
And how do you actually go about selling work, or how have you in the past? How do you make an income?
So it's just mainly the shows that I've been part of as well, and the work sells itself. It's been an interesting journey, and it's still starting as well. So I don't really make work to sell it, if that makes sense. And if other artists relate to it, I make work just because it feels right internally, and to express what's going on inside. And if someone correlates with that and they want that in their house, then by all means, it's all there. But so far, and getting back into garments and clothing design, so that's just the easier way, because not everyone can afford an artwork, especially in these times. So going on to garments and having that perspective there, and hats and clothing as well, that's also available for people, so they can be a walkable artwork.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And you can buy through Instagram, those products?
Instagram and on my website. So everything I always upload on there. I'll be uploading more, so I think that's a quite good go-to, an easier way for people to see if they're interested or not. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
And you are interested in lots of different things and have different sort of ways of working with your graphic design and your sculpture and your painting, and your outdoor work and your indoor work. And so you do have quite a varied and amazing practice.
Thank you.
What are you thinking about at the moment, and sort of where do you think you're going to be heading in the future?
Yeah, I'm thinking about a lot of things at the moment, and how my work can be not flat canvases, and I want them to be movable pieces. So there's the idea of architecture as well, and sculpture. Just how to do it from my small sculptures that I create from off-cut pieces of wood, and how do I create them bigger, or sort of desk size, or sizes of your front door and that height. It's getting into that, and they're more or less painterly sculptures, which are more playful. A lot of pattern work, which is from the pattern ideas from the glitches that I've had, And so embedding a little bit of abstract forms that correlate, but I didn't do it on purpose. They correlate to the Samoan tattoo. So where the tattoos are done on the thigh in Samoa. So they are abstract forms of that. I only saw that after painting them, and someone even said that too. And I was like, oh, I guess it relates.
Yeah, that's so good. And I love those. They're kind of stacked, aren't they? Those pieces, which we'll put on your blog post. People can have a look.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of thing. I think I love stacking sculptures, and you can imagine them just being massive in a sculpture park or something like that, totally oversized.
Yeah.
And exploring different materials and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely in my vision, to have them as a park and where people can climb on them, and it's really big, instead of sculptural pieces that it's a sculpture and you can't touch it. I want it to be embedded into the community, where it can be a playful, fun playground, but it's artwork as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that idea. And where can you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Probably doing a lot of things that I've never thought of. What I can see myself doing right now visually is architecture, and how to embed that into the future, and video work as well. So with my practice, and how to make that available online. Also going to have always the painting perspective, the manual, the labour, that will always be there. But 10 years, I think I'll still be as ambitious as I am right now, and still really well connected to bringing in ideas, not just for myself and my practice, but for the community and other artists. So opening that world that other people can see for themselves. Yeah.
That's really very cool. I love that. Oh, well, we need to get on to the questions, because we have been going longer than we expected, as always happens. So first question, what would you say to your younger artistic self?
Keep going. Yeah. Don't give up. And back yourself. Yeah. Always. Yeah.
And who are your favourite artists and why?
I do look at artists that are overseas. So Revoc. So he's a post-vandalism artist. He's come from a graffiti background. Still does it. One of the best in the world. And he's a contemporary painter, which he uses a mechanical spray paint machine, which is multiple cans. And so they go around in a circle, but they create these sort of simps of lines, but they are really embedded well, and the color coordination is really amazing. And then we got Saber, which is graffiti as well, but he is also just really raw and edgy. Everything that he's made has been from his sicknesses that he's gone through in life, and he expresses it through his artwork. So it's a really nice correlation. And Gaudi, so, his architecture builds are amazing as well. So it's a lot of interesting stuff that you can see from past artists, and how they are really influential to the world right now, and how they actually saw probably 1,000 years ahead of the world that they were living in. And I think having that perspective and those artists is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. And probably you can see the influence in, how they inspire you through your work as well.
Yeah.
With the architectural connections and the graffiti connections and the colour.
Yeah.
And as an artist, what do you think is your biggest challenge?
Oh, I think that's a hard one. I think the biggest challenge is always wanting to do more, when everything that you do is enough. Even if it's a group show, that's a lot to do to make artwork. But my challenge for myself is a lot of it comes from the thinking, and how to get the thinking out of thinking too much. So to actually stop thinking and just create. So that challenge will always be there, but I think I'm doing a little bit okay with it. I mean, I'm just exploring and experimenting with everything. So I'm slowly moving out of that thinking world and creating more. Yeah.
And what drives you to make the kind of work that you make?
The work, mainly because I haven't seen it by other artists as well. So embedding the frequency lines and all these sculptural works and architecture, research, and also research on the psychic world and the psychic realm, and embedding that into the practice and making it a massive spiritual journey. I think that's something that pushes me to make more things that are quite talkative to, and have a massive conversation to nature and how we can actually look at nature as a piece of artwork every day.
Yes, and so it is. Well, very good answers. And I guess we better wrap it up. It's raining outside once again, nearly dark, but we've got the doors open, which is nice. Might have been able to hear some of the rain and the trucks outside.
Yeah.
But thank you very, very much for coming to have a chat to me. And I know that the audience will have found what you had to say really interesting, as I have.
Yeah.
And you're a very inspirational person. And I look forward to seeing you in 10 years' time on the podcast again, telling me what you have achieved, which I'm sure will be huge.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you for having me. And I do want to say thank you to Sefton as well to pushing me to do this. So it's really nice. And thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been nice.
You're very welcome.